Okay, here are your choices. Pick one, pick two, and pick three. Take your time, take a deep breath, pause if you need more time. Choose intuitively if one or more of these has any messages for you to reflect on. And then we will get into the reading. So let's start with pick number one. You chose... That glare is a little annoying, but... There's no such thing as an unchangeable condition. So if there was anything that you were feeling hopeless about, something that you thought was permanent, if you were even just looking at something the way it was and expecting it to always be that way, this card is just reminding you that energy is always moving, your perspective is going to shift, things will look different in time. Let's take a look at some letters. This is just for fun, really. These could be initials. We'll see if it spells any words. I did this the other day, and it just felt very childlike and fun, and I think that's the energy we want to be in when we're doing this kind of stuff. So we have let, lay, fay, felt, tie, okay, so that's all I see. If you see some more, feel free to add them into the comments. I'm going to pause, answer my phone, and I'll be back. Okay, so let's move on to my astro dice. I made some astro dice a while ago. I don't know, like a month ago now, but I haven't used them yet. So they're in a bag and I'm just reaching in. Ooh, one went on the floor. Oh, interesting. 8th house went on the floor. And I like that because the 8th house is kind of about down under. We got Neptune. I guess that is... That can't be the nodes. What the heck is that? Oh boy. This is about a spiritual message having to do with a past life connection. That's what this is. We're just going to pretend that call is background music. Some sort of way that your will, your free will, hasn't been used to convey your thoughts and your message to, and maybe it's a self-worth issue that's holding you back. It's like once you, maybe you're even like thinking that you have to be better, well off or something before you share what you have to share. Like you're trying to like build up finances or possessions or something like that before you feel comfortable and worthy of sharing what it is you have to share, which is something from deep within you. whatever you share, I think you might be sharing it publicly, and it's really going to change the way other people relate with you. Other people will have a better understanding of who you are when you share this. And it could influence what you do as a career, your social standing, your reputation. So pay attention to the details. Go forward creatively. And yeah, you can absolutely make money out of this. The world is, not only will the public see you, but the world. This is how you leave your mark on the world, is after this communication that you're going to share. You have something to share. You brought it in from another lifetime. It's very spiritual message. You're feeling more and more pressure, and it's a big message. It's coming from deep within, or something that you learned through the transformation of your subconscious. There's something within you that is making it hard for you to actually take the steps that you need to take. And it has to do with your own self-worth and how you feel about yourself. And maybe you're just trying to make things more comfortable for when you go forward, because maybe there's part of you that senses it's going to change everything. It's going to change everything. Oh, and remember, this card was, there's no such thing as an unchangeable condition. Yeah. So even if you think things are really good right now, and that you don't want to do this because you don't want to, mess anything up, right? Because you're comfortable with how things are. This card can also be taken to say, like, well, it's not going to stay as it is forever. Like, everything changes. And so maybe you could take that as an encouragement or a reason, or, just by virtue of being alive, being human, and the growth that is required to stay here on Earth, things will change. Okay. Also, whatever conditions you've put on yourself for sharing this message, maybe you can change those conditions. Like, instead of like holding yourself to a certain standard, can you dig at the standard a little bit and see why it's there? See what's holding it up. See if it really even matters to the degree that you're making it matter to you. Okay? Okay. Well, that is very interesting. Pick one. I'm going to complete that as your message. So thank you for participating. Only take the information that is helpful for you to reflect on, and leave the rest. And I will perhaps see you in a future reading. Bye now. Hi, pick two. Your card says, my body responds quickly to my patterns of beliefs. Okay. Very interesting. So whatever you believe about the condition of your body is what you're living out. And if you were to change any beliefs that you have, your body would respond quickly, if that's the intention you have. So whatever condition your body is in, know that you can take responsibility for it, and you can shift it if you take responsibility for it. If you stay a victim to it and look outside yourself for solutions, then you can't take responsibility for it. So this is a reminder and an invitation, just the same. So let's take some letters. This is a way to kind of keep the reading a bit lighter and fun, and it could be initials that are significant to you. These could be some words that are significant to you, or it could just be a way to loosen our minds into a more fun state. So let's see. I'm actually going to grab a couple more letters because we have no vowels, and I like to have some vowels so we can play around with the idea of some words. We've got HRKVS. What else? Oh, isn't that funny? That was the other day I accidentally returned some of my astrology bucket things to this bucket. And that's when I started using this bucket again. I hadn't used it in a long time. But this one got stuck in there. I'm going to keep it for your reading. And it says you have options. Okay? So maybe you feel stuck in a certain condition within your body and you don't realize that there are options. We have O. I'm going to put the H and the S together. Oh, we got another O. So we've got zoo, boo, books. Rook. Shock without the C. HORS without the E. We've got horse without the E. Hobo. So if you see any more words, feel free to share them in the comments. We're going to end that part there. And the next thing we're going to do is use my Astro dice that I made and hadn't been using yet. So this is my first reading using them. I've used them for myself a few times, but... Okay, so some sort of wounding pattern that you can use your free will to heal at this time. It has to do with how you want to be seen by the world, or how you want to be seen by the people who know you, and how the people you know see you. Your ego may be involved in whatever this is. It's a turning point so that you can kind of be seen as a more driven, more passionate, more unstoppable force, more free, more foolish, like Aries is the Fool energy. You're going to free yourself from some sort of condition that you put on yourself for how you let yourself be seen. You're seeing things from a higher view, but you can't see everything, so that might make it a little intimidating. But I think that you're a humanitarian. Wow, 12th house twice. People don't know that about you. People don't know that you are such a humanitarian. People don't know that you're forward thinking and here to start a new way on earth of being brotherly. And oh my gosh, 12th house came out for the third time. Boom, boom, boom. And 9th house, and we've got Sagittarius here. So Sagittarius is the 9th house energy as well, and we've got square. So there's this, what's keeping you is this discomfort between what you know and what you don't know. It's like you know enough to know that you don't know everything. And maybe there's a part of you that's been wounded in those kind of situations, like you go to share something, a perspective, and you didn't know the whole big picture, and then you get called out on it. And maybe your ego got damaged in such a way where you started to hold yourself back in instances like that, knowing that if you didn't know everything you possibly could about it, you were just going to keep your mouth shut. Well, really, you have something valuable to share. You don't have to know everything, but finding the part of you that is in fear in that type of situation and being present with, loving and understanding and accepting that part of yourself, being willing to make mistakes, being willing to be the fool, being willing to be thought of as someone who's still learning, is going to free you completely, because this is the kind of state that we all need to be in going forward. You're breaking away structures that have been like people have been leaning on, really. You're breaking away structures. So what does this say? That people have been leaning on. So is it like crutches? Is it like a wheelchair? Is it like, you know, you have the ability to animate a part of your body that hadn't been working well before? Is it something like that? My body responds quickly to my patterns of beliefs. And if you're breaking away structures that people were leaning on in favor of what possibilities exist, because you really feel the vastness of the void and the possibilities that exist there, and you understand that the currency in this world is what we know. Knowledge has power, right? Well, actually, the limitless possibilities is even bigger than that, right? Because we don't know everything. We can't possibly know everything. There's always more to know, and knowing that and being willing to go forward anyway is how we progress, and is something that's really important to your journey. So letting go of how you need to be seen or how people see you and any fears you have around that is going to be vital to your next steps. Like, it might feel like you're stuck because you don't feel like this is an option, but you do have options. Look at these twin energies too. We've got 2 ascendants, 3 12th house. Now we've got another conjunct. You might even want to communicate about your self-worth concerns, right? Like, there's part of you that is afraid of talking about something that you don't know everything about, or that you might be proven wrong on, or that you might know more about later. You can say that, right? You can just build that into what you're sharing. Like, well, this is my perspective. Well, nobody can deny you your own perspective. It's yours, and that's kind of what you're saying it is. So, you know, if someone wants to laugh at you for your perspective because they have another one, that's kind of silly, because we all have our own. We literally all have our own. So maybe there's something you can do to be creative in the way that you share that will assist you in taking the steps that you want to take into this new endeavor, this new way of being and doing and believing. And your body will fall in line, and you can believe that it will happen quickly. So whatever limitation you feel, you might want to challenge the beliefs that are supporting it. Okay, pick 2. That is your reading. Remember, it's just information to reflect on. Only take what's useful to you and leave the rest. And perhaps I'll see you in the next one. Hi, pick 3. Your card says, my body is very responsive to an improved story. It's very interesting because you may have been attracted to pile 2 as well. It was a very similar message on the card there. But this one kind of is more indicative of the fact that there may be a story you're telling about a more negative outcome, or a pessimistic, or a finite decision that's been made about your body. This is indicating your body will improve when you tell us another story about it. So if the phone rings, just, consider it active background noise, and also consider that it happened in every reading. So, yes, I'm being harassed on the phone, and yes, I will have to block a number. But I'll have to do that when I'm done this reading. I've already been interrupted enough times that I'm not going to stop now. Okay. So, next we've got some things we don't talk about. This is something you've been struggling with alone. It's time to transform this story you've been telling yourself. It's a fairy tale. Why not give it the happy ending? Maybe you've just been waiting to get some advice that tells you this, right? It's like, it's one thing for you to try to believe it yourself, but if someone else believes it too, then it's a lot easier. Maybe there's something coming through from a past life that prohibited you from really believing in yourself, and that's being challenged right now in this lifetime for you to kind of address it instead of looking outside to others. Although if you do need to reach out for support, it's definitely a good idea to do so. But there's everything that's true, the opposite is also true. You have to know you're worth it. You have to love yourself. That makes it easy to love others as well. So where is there discomfort in the story that you're telling about your own self? Can you name 3 ways the opposite is also true? Can you accept that what you believe is true? Can you be present with any feelings that come up about what story you're telling? Maybe it's a story about what you have to be in order for people to love you. You want to be seen as very lovable, especially in your relationships with other people. You also want to be seen as very smart, as having the biggest picture view. So in this case, the fact that you want to reach out to somebody else and get some reassurance and comfort and ideas, it doesn't go along with the vision that you have of yourself. So maybe you were kind of at this standstill, or maybe you even stopped with beating yourself up about the fact that you needed to look outside yourself for some assistance. It's not wrong to do so, and we do get inspiration from each other, as humans. So it's a resource that you have. It's intelligent to utilize it. Yeah, so go express yourself and say that, Say, hey, I think you might have an idea for me about what I'm dealing with. Is there something that you can, kind of share with me about this? Is there a perspective that you have? What do you think? What do you see? Feel free to have those conversations, but do it with somebody who's strong, independent, who's already found their way through, who's transformative, someone who's always shedding, someone who is a professional perhaps, someone that you trust, someone that is able to see that bigger picture view that you're hoping for, and also someone that is interested in creating the win-win-win, meaning whatever solutions they have to offer are going to have everybody's best interest in mind, including yours and theirs. Like, no one's going to have to lose out. Like, you don't want to call up the person who's going to say, oh, those people that you think are going to judge you, F them, just ignore them. It's like, well, sure, that's nice and easy to say, but like that's not easy to do when you have an actual fear or an actual doubt that's actually like dictating how you behave. You want to go to the person who can help you address that fear or doubt, which means like look at it directly, acknowledge it's there, validate why it's there. Find out why it's there. Dig a little. Ask self questions. Ask self like what would be so bad about it if such and such happened. Those are the questions that you need to be able to ask in order to alleviate, and then you want to accept fully that those fears that existed there are there, and be present with however you feel about it. Like, this is not time for suppress and deny or shrugging off, This is the real work. So you want someone who does the real work. That's who you're going to go to for advice about how to handle this. What's coming to mind is the fact that there's an experiment going on this planet right now called human design. And if you know about it, great. If you don't, basically it's humans' energy works one of 4 different ways. 4 to 5 different ways. And we've got the generators, that's 70% of the population, and they're here to get the work done and create. And they have a motor in their energy that gives them a ability to keep working, all the time. They'll have a refreshed amount of energy every day. Then you have the manifestors, that's 8% of the population. The manifestors are basically here to come up with these just like creations out of thin air practically. Of course they will need to take action, but what they have to do is just inform people that they're about to take action and as they complete their task. These are the people who are coming up with wow ideas about a solution that nobody had ever thought of before. Okay? Then we have the reflectors. They are actually offering a mirror reflection to all other people. So they are kind of a chameleon where they are going to be the most appropriate reflection for you as you come into contact with them. I think there's only like 2 to 3% of them in our population. Then we have the projectors. The projectors are about 20% of the population, and they are here to advise. They're the ones with the bigger picture view, and they have the ability to penetrate your aura with their energy, see into the core of you, see the root cause of why you're doing what you're doing, and assist you and help you through whatever it may be. So, if we have a planet that has this dynamic going on and you find yourself to be a generator and you need some advice, then you might look to a projector, look around, see who looks like they fit this build that I've kind of laid out. Or if you're a projector, you can also go to another projector. Now, projectors have to wait to be invited. So these people aren't out here just like telling you what to do. I mean, some of them are going to, and you'll probably feel like rejecting them when they do. And that's fine. That's how they learned their place and their role too, right? So we all are going to have to learn how our energy works the best, right? So if you're a manifester, then you're probably not asking anyone for advice. You're just stating it, doing it, and you might be learning by trial and error. And maybe you find yourself to be like that on most issues, but on this one thing, you feel like you could have another perspective that could help. That's all good too. We have different channels of energy that work different ways. So even within one person who's a generator, they might have a manifesting line and a projector line. So you might have recognized yourself in any of those energy types that I mentioned. It's just that there's one that's going to be predominant based on what your design is. There are free calculators online if you're curious. But my point in saying that is, if we have people out here in our population that are meant to be our advisors, it makes sense that if you're feeling called to ask for advice, that you do so. Because all you have to do is invite them to help you, and they will. Of course, they need to discern what invitation is the right one for them, and if it is the right one for them, they will assist. And you'll have to be just recognizing who they are, and you would recognize them by the description I gave. Let's revisit this card. My body is very responsive to an improved story. Yeah, I feel like once you dig at the root, see the root cause of whatever it is that's blooming and flourishing in your life right now that you're wanting to shift, it's going to shift really quickly after you have this kind of outside perspective to rewrite the story that you're telling. Okay, pick 3. That is your reading. Remember, this is just information to reflect on. Only take what's helpful for you and leave the rest. And thank you for being here. Perhaps I'll see you in a future reading.